Okay, this is a really inappropriate fucking ad to fucking post with the fucking video that I'm doing right now. Like, okay, children are getting exposed to pornography, and look at that. You might be entitled to a compensation for cancer.
Yep, gotta have that disabled dolphin in there. As expected, the response to this episode was quite varied. You had people on one side of the coin saying that this was totally inappropriate, while people on the other side argued that it's completely fine, and in fact, children should be exposed to these ideas. But we have to roll back around.
Okay, this is where society gets it extremely twisted. And I may need to grasp my Cobra cane and my beer. 1 second. I paid like $108 for this Cobra cane, and then walking around with it, the head came off. So I stuck some tin foil and some clear drying Gorilla Glue into the part right here, and then screwed it back onto the cane part, and then spray painted the cane part black so I can make it my two favorite colors, black and green. But it chipped away, and the pewter of the silver chipped away in certain areas. So there you go. This is the results. But like, okay, okay, I'm definitely gonna need a smoke after this, so I'll be going outside to have a smoke after this video. But this is the truth of it, YouTube. Like, if you want to expose children to ideas like transgender and gay rights and all this other adult-themed crap, there's a way to do it without being perverted. Like I said, there's a big difference between being perverted and progressive. Big difference between being perverted and progressive.
To the question of whether or not it's okay to expose children to adult-centric ideas before they're ready, and whether or not...
Yeah, it should not be okay to expose children to adult-centric ideas before they're ready. Like, that's just messed up, period. I don't care what the adult situation is.
Is appropriate. I look at this topic as a whole, and I can't help but feel
fucking Jafar status with this. Like,
feel like we're letting our kids down. It's not that they shouldn't know that different kinds of people exist with different sexualities and interests and so on.
Exactly. Thank you, Sydney. I'll drink to that. It's not about your kids being told this and that, how they shouldn't be exposed to people who are LGBTQ+. It's how you present that lifestyle, if that makes any sense. Just flat out giving your kids the full 180, like, here's a lesbian couple with a double-ended dildo fucking, now I want you to watch it and be progressive, versus, hey, you know, these two chicks really like each other, they're gonna hold hands, and occasionally you might see them kiss. There's a big difference.
And much as I personally don't even like the hypersexualization of Pride, I'm not even arguing that Pride shouldn't exist at all, or that adults, consenting adults, shouldn't participate. But when it comes to the tiny noodle people, and I will say this until I am blue in the face, we should not be introducing things to them or pushing things on them when they are not ready for them.
They're basically saying, hey, if it's not appropriate for kids, it shouldn't be pushed on the kids. That's not too unreasonable. Like, that's not fucking unreasonable. To be honest. Nobody here is saying, hey, kids shouldn't be exposed to tolerance, period, because fuck tolerance. No. Okay, don't get it twisted. I'm all for tolerance and gay acceptance, but you gotta consider your audience. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna fucking throw this away. Yes. Now the stopper on this is a little wore off, but it's there. For like nostalgic or like our goth gentleman with his walking stick kind of thing. I don't actually need it for medical purposes, but I'm autistic and I gotta be careful walking around town with my Cobra cane because some people will get offended because I don't need it for actual medical use. And because I'm not that kind of person, there are a lot of people who need a cane because that's just how it is. I don't want to be that one asshole that's just like, oh, I'm walking around with it because I think it looks cool and then just piss off everybody else. Fuck that. So it stays in my collection of staffs and wands for the most part. Like, this one person was giving me shit about it at the store. And as soon as I mentioned I was autistic and I had Asperger's, he immediately shut the fuck up. He was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I'm like, kiss my ass, dude. It's a nice little collection piece. Got a gold and silver Peter Schmidt fucking head. And then like a black. Yes. That's beside the point. Step that to the side for a second. Oh, fucking hell. We got 1 minute left. This has been a very exhausting and very long conversation about child rights and LGBTQ rights. It might have made some people uncomfortable, but this is just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I've taken what Sydney Watson said and what I'm saying and be like, well, this is my opinion. If you don't like it, okay, there you go. That's your opinion. This is the kind of crap that gives people like Caitlyn Jenner a bad name. Because it's like, no, my only complaint about this bitchin' Cobra cane is that I can't unscrew it and pull out like a blade. Like, I've had a Cobra cane where it's like a sword attached and it broke. So, there you go. It just is what it is. I'm obsessed with Cobras. One of my obsessions, to be honest. So, I'm like, yes. I took a Cobra cane that had a brown cane and a silver head, and I spray painted the cane part black and the head green, and then added some like Mod Podge, the stuff that I used to make my wands shiny, and the final process to the cane part. And it's like, yeah, that's what's up.
To mention the grooming and child exploitation side of things, which
yes, thank you. The child exploitation side of things. That is the goddamn truth. People don't look at this like you're exploiting children to mature subject content that they're not mature enough to handle. They just see it as they're pushing their progressive adult ways onto children. They don't see it as some of these children possibly are not mature enough to handle it. You wouldn't give your child a beer, but heaven forbid you give your child alcohol, but you'll shove LGBTQ rights in their face in the most appropriate / inappropriate situations, you know? You wouldn't want some grown-ass man shoving his hairy male ass into your kid's face like, oh, look at me, you know?
we can save for a whole nother video on its own. Given the negative ramifications that can come about from these sort of things, I just don't know why any parent would want to take a chance with this. Those who argue that all of this is okay often ignore the fact that we know what happens when children are exposed to hypersexualized imagery, acts, and so on. We know because it's been long documented, and I personally would argue that we're seeing the effects of this and the consequences of this playing out in society at the moment. The kids are not all right, fam. In the end,
No, most kids are not all right.
Here we go again. In lag, I can't move.
This is why I've often said I feel sorry for today's kids. Because today's kids are growing up in an
Do you want to
overly
play the fucking game?
hypersexualized.
Just kill me. Here.
Today's kids are
growing
growing up in an overly hypersexualized
this is how you earn your win. So no,
where
no,
LGBTQ plus agenda is being
me,
forced
asshole.
down their throats, whether they're mature enough to understand it or not. And they're being forced to accept it, whether they agree with it or not. And it's like, how is this any different than forcing kids to go to church when they're like, what if I don't believe in God, kind of thing?
I'm so fucking bored right now.
Oh my god. Like, I'm just so tired of this stupid shit. I really am.
my hope is that more people will band together to try to preserve the innocence of children.
Now, I fully agree, Sydney Watson. Thank you. 1,000% to 1,000,000% more important than me ending my miserable fucking dry spell. Thank you. Preserving the innocence of children. My fucking point exactly. I will fucking drink to that. Because at the end of the day, that's what we should be doing, is preserving, no shitballs, almost dropped my cane, look out. I'm serious. That's what we should be doing, to be honest, is preserving the innocence of children. Because the innocence, once it's gone, it can never be retrieved very easily, to be honest. This is okay. This Sydney Watson video response that I made was a super long, awkward conversation about a lot of shit. So,
Because as far as I'm concerned, we have taken things way too far. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder that you can download Xstar using the link in the description.
sweet.
You can receive 25% off site-wide and get your dad something very cool for Father's Day. Now, I open the floor.
No, when I want to get my dad for Father's Day, I can't get him his Mustang because he already found that. Like, I was going to win the lottery and be like, oh, hey, Dad, I found the Mustang you had in high school. Here's the money for it, kind of thing. But my dad beat me to it and already got, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the thing I would get my dad for Father's Day, my dad loves Red Lobster. Like, that's one of my dad's favorite restaurants. So one of the things I try to get my dad for Father's Day is a Red Lobster gift card, because he can take my stepmom Tanis out for a romantic date and get a couple bucks off. That kills two birds with one stone. My dad gets a sweet gift, and he can take his woman out for a bite to eat. It's not the best, because I would give my dad a custom-made 32 Ford 3-window coupe if I could afford it. As anything, like I would give my mom or my dad, the people who raised me, the car of their dreams if I could afford it. But I can't afford the car. Stop talking! I got a server. All the channels are just among us. I showed my champion underwear to my daughter. I go in the logo, I flip it, and I say, base with the underwear trash. I fucking looked at a trash can. I said, that's a bit sexy. I looked at my feet. I put my reaction on comment.
What do you all think? Is this actually as bad as many people think it is?
Yes, Sydney Watson, it is as bad as people think it is. Like, some of the crap they're trying to push on the kids is extremely inappropriate. I'm all for teaching children to be progressive and to be tolerant of LGBTQ plus rights. But you can teach your kids to be tolerant of LGBTQ plus rights without being perverted about it.
Do you believe that children should actually be exposed to these ideas?
Yes and no. Children should not be exposed to these ideas if it's detrimental to their health. If that makes any sense. Like, if you're shoving this shit into their face to a degree where it's like you take them to a gay pride parade and like you got some gay dude's ass being shoved in your kid's face. No. If you wouldn't want a pedophile flashing their dick in your kid's face, then the idea of a gay man flashing his ass in your kid's face, and all of it being in the name of he's in a gay parade. Those are just his how he identifies. Like, fuck off.
It's okay for them to be exposed to these ideas.
I don't think there's a problem with kids being exposed to being tolerant. However, when you get exposed to an environment that's being told you have to be super perverted to be tolerant, like, I'm sorry, but kids do not have a grasp of how the world works. It's the truth. YouTube. I'm not trying to be like anything. It's the goddamn truth. Like, fucking ridiculous. If you want to expose kids to a progressive idea that you shouldn't judge somebody just because they're gay, I'm all for it, 1000%. But if you're doing that in a way that exposes children to sexually explicit material, that's where I draw the line.
Do you think children at Pride is okay? Do you think kink is okay at Pride?
Okay, no. We've kind of already covered that crap. Do you think it's okay for children to be exposed to gay pride and pride parades? My answer is yes, as long as they're not being exposed to overly sexual material, then who cares?
What do you generally make of this issue overall?
What do I make of this issue overall? I think children should be taught acceptance